So today's topic is going to be, maybe you might not like me after you hear today's topic, and that's okay. I'm not here for you to like me, but I think this is something that we need to talk about, and it can actually be really useful for you, right? Once you hear me out, okay? So don't be upset, don't be frustrated. Just stay with me and let me know what you think, okay? So today I want to ask you, is your clutter a security blanket? How is your clutter actually serving you? Like, what is it doing for you? Because chances are it is actually serving some kind of a purpose. Now, some of it may be there because you just haven't gotten to it, you just literally didn't get around to even pushing it off for whatever reason. But sometimes we hang on to things because they are fulfilling a purpose in our lives. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We'll talk about how to recognize it and what to do about it. Okay? Let me know if you can see me and hear me. Okay, Ruth is here. Hey, Ruth, nice to see you. Audio, video, everything on point, hopefully. So I don't know if you know, my kids never had like a lovey, right? I tried so hard to get them to carry around, a teddy bear or a blanket or something, because I thought if they had one, they would sleep better. And maybe that would be true or not, but they just never got attached to anything like that, like anything kind of physical, any physical lovey. But I know there are lots of little kids who have their blanket, they have their, their teddy, they have, maybe they have a pacifier, right? And that is their special thing. That helps them feel safe. It helps them feel secure. It's like where they go or what they reach for if they're tired, or if they're having a bad day, or if they're sad. That's what they reach for. It's their security object, right? And that is super important, really, for kids. That helps kids learn to self-soothe, right? They don't need an adult necessarily. They can just go and pick up their teddy bear. I think that's a good thing, right? And they can kind of comfort themselves with that object. Now, when we get older, however, we don't want to have to comfort with clutter, right? We don't want to have to use our clutter maybe as a shield. Maybe, and again, you have to figure out what it's doing for you, but what is it doing for you, right? There's all kinds of things that it's not doing for you. My guess is you probably, you know that it's in the way, you know that it's costing you time, you know that it's costing you money, you're irritated with it, it's creating stress, right? Those are all the things that you don't want. But what is it doing that you do want? What would that look like for you? Let me know in the chat if you have some examples. I know some things that I have seen, from some people in our community. Maybe if you have clutter, you don't have to worry about inviting people over. You always have an excuse. Oh, well, you can't come over because the guest room isn't ready. Right? Oh, no, you can't come over. I just don't, I don't let people in the door because my house, isn't ready for it, right? That could be a useful excuse, right? Now, again, no judgment here. Don't feel judged. Just get curious. What else could it maybe be doing? Maybe if you have clutter that you've been meaning to get to, then you don't have to worry about something bigger. That's also like on the to-do list in your head, right? Oh, I can't get to doing the family photos because I got all these papers, right? So when these papers are done, I will do the family photos, right? But you never finish the papers, so you never have to deal with the family photos or the scrapbook or, getting your finances in order. Because you have this handy excuse that is, bigger and more obvious and more tangible. You see how that works, right? It's keeping you somewhat safe. Maybe it's protecting you from, the outside world, or it's protecting you from dealing with something else that is also a problem in your life. Okay, so what do you want to do about this? I really want with this video to just invite you to become aware. I don't want you to change anything. I don't want you to, to run off and go, okay, well, my gosh, I have this issue here. That's not what we're doing right now. We are just looking for awareness. So where could it be serving you, and what does that look like? Like, why do you like having the clutter around? What's it doing for you? This is where journaling can really, really help. This can be super useful because when we have things going on in our head, we're thinking things in our heads, and they're just thoughts, and they're probably spinning, they're probably looping around, and we don't even really notice what's going on. It's just kind of like noise. Sometimes it's in the background. But when we get those thoughts out of our head and onto a piece of paper, we can look at them. We can take a look. And when you write something down, now you have a little distance. You're a little bit apart from that thought, from that idea. Then you can look at it and you can say, wow, I didn't even know I was thinking that. But here it is. It just came out of my brain. And then you can decide if you want to believe it or not. Right? So when you journal, you can ask yourself really simply, I would just encourage you to say, complete the sentence, this thing, and maybe you want to say my clutter, but maybe you want to say, the boxes in the craft room. Maybe you want to get specific. We always like to get specific. So the, XYZ is protecting me from what? From, I don't know, from dealing with the fact that I'm not a music teacher anymore, from dealing with the fact that I'm not a homeschool mom anymore, from, getting busy on my scrapbooks, from, whatever it is. Like, what is it actually protecting you from? Just write it down. You don't have to do anything with this information. We're just looking for awareness, right? And then you can ask yourself a couple follow-up questions. Number one, like, why do I need protection from this thing, this idea, or this, whatever it is? Why do I need protection from it? Little kids need protection, right? If you are 3 years old, you do need protection from the monsters under the bed. It's a fact. You need something that you can go to for protection. But when we are adults, sometimes we forget, we don't have to be protected from a scary idea. We don't need protection anymore from company coming over. We can just say, I don't want to have company over, right? Like, if you are perfectly allowed to make that statement. Or maybe you want to decide, maybe I do want to have company, or it's just a little scary for me because I'm not used to it, right? Is it true? You don't need protection the way you did when you were a child, right? And hopefully your parents protected you and you had your security blanket and all that. But those were all like coping mechanisms. So we want to see, what are the coping mechanisms? That's what the clutter is being in this case. What are the coping mechanisms at work? And then, do I really need it? Or, because here's the thing about coping mechanisms, they don't really work. They don't work. It just kicks the can down the road, right? You don't really feel better. You feel a little bit better, but you do not solve the problem. And if the problem is still there, then you're still dealing with the problem. It's just kind of like, you can kind of ignore it, or, you put it off, you pretend it's not there. Right? It's just like with the monster under the bed. That monster was never there, but the little kid didn't know it. Right? It was just darkness. It felt like there is something there. Right? We know there's no monster under the bed, but a 3-year-old doesn't know that. And it's the same thing with any of these things that we are trying to protect ourselves from. It's not necessarily a problem that you haven't done the scrapbook yet. It's not, unless you make it a problem by how you're thinking. Right? And so you can decide to have a new story. I haven't done the scrapbooking, and that's okay. I'm not going to do the scrapbooking. I am going to do the scrapbooking, and here's my plan. And now we got to stick to it, right? And that's a whole new set of feelings. But do you see how that works? We don't have to protect ourselves the way we thought we did when we were 3 years old. But some of us, and sometimes we forget, and we just haven't gotten the message yet. So why do you need protecting? And is it true? And then, is it actually working? Because as you know, it doesn't really work. It kind of works, but it really just kind of dulls everything, and the problem is still there. And then you have two problems, because you have the clutter problem, and then you have the actual problem that you're trying to escape. Right? So it's not really working. So first step, again, get aware, just get curious, just uncover what's going on inside your head. And then if you want, you can do something about it. If you want, you can just let it be for a little bit. Just getting that awareness is going to be hugely helpful for you. And you may actually discover, you know what, I actually feel like I maybe could take a step towards solving that bigger problem when I'm ready, right? Again, there's no rush here. I think when you approach things with that perspective, like I'm not in a hurry, I don't have to, rush to fix everything. I can just notice, my brain is telling me whatever. My brain is telling me I need protection from this thought that, whatever it is. And actually, it's probably not true. So I'm just going to sit with that. Just sit with that and see how that goes. All right? That's what I have for you today. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Is your clutter a security blanket? And if so, what is it protecting you from? And what do you think you might want to do about it? Let me know. All right, you guys? Take care. I'll talk to you soon.